You've heard Werner already speak today about security. And for us, IAM was a fantastic piece of development because it really means that when our application's running, we can make sure that that application can only access exactly the things that we want it to. And that level of control, again, given to the user, in this case, given to us, is a really amazing opportunity to make sure that you're engaging at every level of the stack, at every level of your business. And we were able to do all of this straight off the back of a credit card. This is actually a concept, a slide, and I'm sure that Amazon would prefer you use your own. But for us, this is a slide we also use because, again, there's just a perfect symmetry between us and Amazon. With Amazon, you're able to just walk up one day, lay down a card, and start deploying instances minutes later. You can be spawning terabytes of storage, loading up thousands of objects into S3, and you can do it all without having to worry about a contract. And like I was saying earlier, we had that experience of dedicated infrastructure. You start out with a contract, you wrestle back and forth about numbers, finally you sign something, fax it back and forth and wait for it to finish up. Then if they've got hardware, then you'll start arranging a deployment window where they go and rack it for you. Then once it's racked, you've got to start the installation process, and I get tired even just talking about it. What I really wanted was something that got out of the way, but let me really start working straight away. And for us, it's exactly the same way because you can come along, put down a credit card and have a project listed within 5 minutes. And that's just a really perfect sort of match for us, again, in terms of how we can do business. Because for us, it keeps that flexibility and it keeps us moving quickly. In fact, it works so well, it actually works for the users of our website because we regularly get Amazon Web Services work outsourced through our marketplace. You can see here, somebody's getting a web application linked to S3 as backend object storage. This person's getting an online e-store linked and pushed up into EC2, and this person's getting a new Rails app deployed onto EC2. And that also means for us that works well with our development model because for us, it's all about moving really, really quickly. We want to make sure that we execute fast and we execute often. So it's all about response. We can watch our metrics, see when load's going up, we can see more queries on the database, we need an extra web server, and we can respond in a really timely manner so that we're able to take every opportunity as it comes to us. And at the same time, that fast iteration of try something and experiment and then deploy, and making sure that we can keep that rolling so that we're always focusing on getting those features out, getting that marketplace growing and keeping it growing. Our standard technology stack is very open source based, and again, EC2 is fantastic for this because you've got so many options in terms of your deployments. You can run Linux, you can run OpenSolaris, you can run Oracle as you've heard earlier today. At the same time, you can use all these open source software and it works very, very well. So Linux is our standard operating system platform, PHP is our language, Nginx, Varnish, Memcached, Redis, MySQL, all runs perfectly on top of this EC2 platform. And this is our standard network architecture. So again, what we were able to do is take a classical 3-tier architecture and drop it straight onto EC2. Very small modifications to make that happen, but it's very much the same architecture that most web applications use today. And in fact, we actually use a secondary cloud for our staging area. So again, we're able to take all of this. We can snapshot our EBSs for our databases, deploy them into the staging cloud, and then actually operate on our effectively live data, which gives us all kinds of additional benefits in terms of being able to work and make sure that our scale continues to match. A few quick statistics about us. We have between 10 and 15,000 users on the site at any time. We run over 80 instances, a mix of high CPU and high memory instance types, over 15 terabytes of EBS storage, 450 gigs of S3 storage, mostly in 20 to 40K files for our marketplace and our crowdsourcing solution. Our databases handle over 310 million queries per day, total of 680 gig of returned results set data per day, and over 29 million HTTP requests. And for us, that means that we're able to scale and scale up very, very rapidly. And we've been able to do that because Amazon's been growing so rapidly with us and innovating at the same time as we are. And so next for us is to continue that experience of scaling up and scaling out. We're also really excited about some of the new geographic locations that are available to us, especially in terms of content caching delivery. And this is one that's really interesting to me, Route 53. So as I've been saying, outsourcing hardware is absolutely fantastic for us because it takes away something that is absolutely critical, but we also don't want to have to specialize in. And DNS is another really interesting example of that. DNS is a critical piece of technology, but at the same time, not necessarily one that we have to own and run ourselves. we're more than happy to be exploring this technology at the moment because, again, it lets us focus down on the things that are critical to us and outsource the rest. After everything that I've been able to tell you today, with the enormous potential that cloud computing is bringing to the table in terms of better and more powerful computing power, and also offloading all of those extra things that you shouldn't have to worry about. And when you hear that there is an army of freelancers out there waiting to do that work for you at a tenth of the price, in half the time that you would have got it done previously, there's only one thing left to ask, and that's, what are you waiting for? Thank you very much. I hope you have a great afternoon.